Hey, what's going on, guys? Cygnus here, and today we're going to be going through another one of my build guides. So today we're going to be taking a look at my Assassination rogue. Going to run through the spells, talents, PvP talents. We're going to give you a little mastery breakdown, my gear, and then of course, my preferred stat priority for my Assassination rogue. There could be other builds or other stat priorities that might be a little bit better. This is just how I built mine. Like I've said before, it might not be BIS, but it's how I like to play it. As you can see, I'm obviously a Night Elf because I personally think it's pretty BIS. Elusiveness here, which increases your speed while stealthed by 5%. Shadow Meld is like the only vanish that we have in our bracket, basically. Quickness, which is another passive. It increases your chance to dodge melee and ranged attacks by 2% and your move speed by 2%. And then Touch of Elune, which increases your haste by 1% during the night and increases your critical strike by 1% during the day. And then most importantly, Wisp Spirit, because I spend a lot of time dead, so I need that move speed while dead increased, definitely. Joking aside, Assassination has a pretty wonderful kit. It's got Fan of Knives, which sprays knives. It's the AoE that deals damage in all directions. It also applies your poison, deals reduced damage above or beyond 8 targets. Costs 35 energy. Garrote, which is a 45 energy, 6-second cooldown, which garrotes the enemy, causing 455 bleed damage over 18 seconds. Awards 1 combo point. Mutilate, which costs 50 energy, instant, no cooldown on it. Attack with both weapons, dealing a total of 139 physical damage, awards 2 combo points. Rupture is your finishing bleed. It does more damage, obviously, with increased combo points, and it just deals it's a dot over time. It costs 25 energy. A Shadow Step through the shadows to appear behind your target and gain 70% movement speed increase for 2 seconds. And then the Mastery, which is increased damage done by your poisons by X%. As far as normal rogue abilities at 20 go, we've got Ambush, which obviously is the big, quote unquote big damage opener. It doesn't really do that much damage. Sadly, long gone are the days of ambush two-shotting rogues, being able to double ambush out of stealth. Cheap Shot, which is another opener, requires stealth. It stuns the target for 4 seconds, awards 1 combo point, and costs 40 energy. Crimson Vial, which is your heal. There's a 30-second cooldown. Drink the alchemical concoction that heals you for 20% of your maximum health over 4 seconds. I always forget that is a heal over time. 5% of your health every second. Quick math, proud of myself. Eviscerate, everybody knows what Eviscerate does. More combo points you have, the more damage it does, just straight out flat damage. Kick is your melee kick, 15-second cooldown. Kidney Shot, a finishing move that stuns the target, lasts longer per combo point. Poisons, the only poison we have at 20 is Deadly Poison, which coats your weapon in a lethal poison that lasts for 1 hour. Each strike has a 30% chance to poison the enemy for 160 nature damage over 12 seconds. So it's just a dot. Sap, you know what Sap is. Incapacitates the target while you're in stealth for 1 minute. It's different when PvP. I think it's like 8 seconds, and then it halves from there because of DRs, right? Slice and Dice, another finisher that consumes combo points to increase attack speed by 50% and lasts longer per combo point. Sprint increases your movement speed by 70% for 8 seconds, usable while stealthed, and it has a 2-minute cooldown. Fleet-footed, which is your movement speed is increased by 15% and you take reduced falling damage. So there's not a whole lot available to you at 20. Like I said, we don't have a Vanish, we don't have Cloak, we don't have Evasion, would also be nice. All right, as for talents, we've got the Master Poisoner. So it increases the damage done by your weapon poisons by 30% and their non-damaging effects by 20%. So that just increases your poisons by 30% damage. So a 30% chance to do 30% increased damage on your poisons. So that's okay. I could see that being pretty good. Elaborate Planning, your finishing moves grant 10% increased damage done for 4 seconds. I could see this one also being pretty good, especially if you had really high crit. And then what I always run basically is Blindside, and Mutilate has a 20% chance to make your next ambush free and usable without stealth. Chance increased to 40% if this target is under 35% health. Getting a free ambush is like always really nice, obviously, and one of your main abilities is Mutilate, so you're pressing that button a lot. As for PvP talents, we literally have 3 to choose from. The one that I always run for default, especially if I'm up against melee classes, is Dismantle, which disarms the enemy for 6 seconds. Death from Above, it's another finisher. You leap into the air and eviscerate your target on the way back down with such force that it as a 10% stronger effect. It kind of like makes you go up in the air, and I think it actually gives you some iframes, like you can't be stunned while you're like up in the air doing this finishing move. I've had some really weird things happen when they use death from above, so you know, your mileage may vary there. And then maneuverability, sprint removes all root effects and suppresses all movement slowing effects for 4 seconds when used. Every 4 points gives 1.7% damage to poisons and bleeds. This actually seems like it would scale pretty good. However, kind of as he outlines here, this mastery applies to poisons at 20. Neither instant or deadly poisons are significant enough chunks of your damage to invest at only a 1.7 bump in their damage per mastery point. It's basically outclassed by every other secondary. The only time I think mastery would be really good on Assassination personally is if you were doing PvE content. Nothing stays alive long enough for those bleeds and poisons to actually take effect and do what you want them to do, right? It's to tick over time and you know, do their real damage. And you got to remember too, each strike only has a 30% chance to poison. That doesn't go up with your mastery, that stays the same. So a 30% chance on each strike. Sure, if you have more mastery, that damage is going to increase, but you're still only playing at a 30% chance. It could be good. I could see a mastery build being fun, but personally, this is how I did it. I went with haste. But yeah, I could see a mastery build actually kind of working out. It just depends on what you want to do, right? If you think mastery seems interesting to you, go ahead and try it. Who's stopping you? After seeing some other builds and some other leather gear, now that I've actually made a monk and I've made a druid now, I'm realizing I could have made this a little bit better. So first up, we've got Moonglade Cowl for haste 7 verse. If you notice, a very, very common trend among all of these items is that I'm gemming 2 agility 2 haste in almost everything. If I'm not gemming 2 agility 2 haste, it's because I ran out of the gems. Moonglade Cowl, just because it's a very solid helm with a meta socket. I'm using the Thundering Skyflare Diamond, which has a chance to increase melee range attack speed. It increases by quite a lot, and I can't remember the proc chance, but it's actually pretty good. I'm using Aurora off piece. Everything you see will be an Aurora off piece. I've got Mark of the Hidden Satyr enchanted on the neck piece there. As for shoulders, I'm running Mantle of Parenthold just because they're the only ones that give 14 secondary stat. 7 crit, 7 haste there, both very good for a rogue. Thundering Totem Cloak of the Aurora, 6 haste, 2 verse, plus 5 primary stat, enchanted with the Goblin Glider as always. Moonglade Robe, 4 crit, 7 verse, plus 3 all stats enchanted. 2 agi, 2 haste all the way through. Sea Dog's Cuffs. These don't have a socket, but they do proc a socket, and it's because they're basically free Aurora socket, right? It's 4 haste or 3 haste, 4 verse, and then enchanted with +2 attack power. I don't think that's a good enchant. I don't know why I'm using that one, but there are definitely better options out there. Starlight Gloves, because +3 versatility and 2 sockets. Like I've said too, there are better options for gloves. +4 agility enchanted, 2 agi, 2 crit, only because other options I had that have the 2 agi, 2 haste are the deft handguards here. I don't remember why I swapped them out, but I think it's because I had enough haste. I rock Liar's Cord for the belt, which also has the Spinal Healing Injected Tinker on it. Honorable mention for the Highlander's Lizard Girdle, which, you know, gives a whopping 11 verse on it, but no sockets. So the versatility, I do get more tooltip damage on Mutilate. So think about that if you're actually going for the socket belt or this one that you can buy from the Warsong Gulch vendor. Moonchild Leggings, which is 6 crit, 6 verse, triple socket, 2 agility, 2 haste. All the way through. As always, I don't have my legs enchanted. I think I mentioned this on one of my recent streams. I thought I was gonna fix it by now. I'm embarrassed that I still have not fixed it. Lothian Boots of the Aurora, 5 haste, 6 verse, enchanted with minor speed increase, because remember friends, in the enchanting video I talked about, minor speed is the only one that stacks with your other movement speed enchants. So if you see, just running around right now, I have 127% movement speed, and when I'm stealth, I have 132% movement speed. Pretty sick, right? And I don't have plus speed on any of my gear. One of the reasons I like rocking Night Elf so much. Storming Band of the Aurora, set 18 haste, 7 verse. Like I said, no socket, and also not enchanted. I'm a terrible twink, you guys. Don't follow in my footsteps, I'm telling you. Seal of the Regal Loa, 9 haste, 14 verse. This one's enchanted. +2 agi, +2 haste, as always. As always, a PvP trinket in one of the slots, and double haste versus Ghost Iron Dragonling. I'm using Soul Render's Fang in my main hand and a Barman Skewer in the offhand. I got lucky with a proc here for the socket, and I just thought I'm going to use it for the swag because you only get one chance at it, right? So it's kind of hard to get. I should be using double Soul Render's Fang with sockets. I do have a Soul Render's Fang with a socket, but I have Dancing Steel enchanted on it, which I really should just swap over to Elemental Force. If you notice, I'm running dual Elemental Force, on both weapons, and the reason is because Elemental Force is an RPPM enchant, which means it procs more with the more haste that you have. Look it up. I don't feel like explaining it. Look it up. Trust me. So if you'll actually look at my stats here, I am rocking the Alchemist's Flask. So I'm rocking Alchemy and Engineering. So I do have the Flask for +9 agility outside, and it's like +14 or +12 inside. My main stats are 163 agility, 161 stamina. I'm not gemming any stamina or anything like that, so it's pretty baseline. That's up to 165 attack power. That's one reason that I was playing with Dancing Steel. I have 2 weapons that have it on there just because playing a Dancing Steel is a lot of fun. It's not very reliable, and if you want reliable damage, especially when you have high haste, you definitely want to go Elemental Force. My critical strike is up at 16%. I could make that a little bit higher if I decided to go with the 12 crit, 5 stun resist meta gem. I might end up doing that at some point. I might end up running the Wastewalker's helmet and gloves, which will definitely put a nice boost for my critical strike chance, but I'll also lose a little bit of haste there as well because of the helm. 34% haste, which is absolutely massive. 20% verse because I figure that that's a pretty solid baseline. 13% mastery. I don't actually have any mastery in my gear, as you can see, and that is basically my rogue in a nutshell. I'm realizing now that I definitely should have used this add-on to cover all of the character, or to cover all of the stuff. It makes it a lot easier, but I'll just leave this up here for a minute if you want to see it in a different site or in a different view. Like I've said, this build might not be BIS, but it is mine, and I enjoy the hell out of this rogue. I just don't play her often enough to be good at her, all right? But it is a lot of fun. As always, I got to give a shout out to the members: Psycho Teddy, Creepy, Sketchbag, Absolutely, Cuzgin, LC, Who's Depths, Bop, Digital, I always mess your name up, man. Evan Campbell, Drad, Crumb, Jacob Jess, Persuasions, Dennis McPeak, and Waz. I don't know why your name's cut off, but you got the blue badge, man. Coming in with 6 months. Thank you guys so much, so much for the continued support. It means a lot to me. If you guys have any questions, feel free to join the Discord. It's all in the description below. We also have a cross-faction in-game community, which everyone is welcome to join as well. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace.